James here from the Gator Nation Football Podcast, bringing you a film breakdown of Florida's defense versus LSU. I'm sure a lot of you don't want to watch this film breakdown. If you've followed the podcast for any time or you've watched these breakdowns, you've seen a whole lot of Todd Grantham defenses and what's wrong with them most of the time, sometimes what's been okay or even right with them. And this game was, I would say, a masterclass of a Grantham defense in the wrong way. So many things on display that we've seen before on film. And as I like to say, the film doesn't lie. As always, if you like this content, subscribe to this channel. Follow us on social media. Check out the podcast each and every Monday, where we bring you in-depth analysis on the Florida Gators. And consider dropping us a donor to support our efforts to bring you more content like this. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at what went wrong and a few things that did go right for the Gators on Saturday at LSU.
We'll start our film journey by looking at a 3rd and 3 early on from LSU. Of course, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the GT counter, guard tackle counter, which is going to happen progressively as this game goes on. I'll show you film from Kentucky and from Oklahoma last year who ran the GT counter against Florida. I'll explain the GT counter. I'll talk about the history of it. We'll get into it. At any rate, for now, this is not a GT counter. In fact, what's going to happen here is LSU wants to pass the football on a slant route on Trevez. That's where they want to go. They should hit the slant route here, since Moon is going to drop back into this window and actually take care of where they want to throw this football to. So nice ID by Florida to recognize that's where they want to go. And you can see this here. Moon's going to play into this window. That's where Max is looking. That's where they want to go. They don't want to go here. This is wide open. They don't want to go here. Good for Florida. And they're going to wind up coming down here where Elam is a perfect cross-body jam. He's going to use a sideline as a defender. He's going to stay on top of the route down here. That's all textbook. Diabate, A-gap pressure. He's going to hit Max. That ball's short. And then Elam's right there for the breakup. So a nice stop early on from Florida on 3rd and 3. A 1st and 10 for LSU in general in football. If you're playing defense and you're trying to stop the run, you want to follow the H-back. Now, this is a tight end, but when you see him lined up in this position, he's playing the role of an H-back. He's basically your lead blocker, like what a fullback would have done, and you follow him 9 times out of 10, probably 9.5 times out of 10, that's where the football is going. So if you are a linebacker, that's what you want to be watching. If you're Hopper, you want to watch where he's going to go. If you're Trey Deems, the strong safety who Florida was using to come out of the too-high shell to stop the run, that's what you want to look at. Now, this was a problem for Florida all day long. We're going to unpack it, uncover it. This is a simple running play here, a counter. Here's an early counter. This is not a GT counter, not a guard tackle counter. In fact, all we're going to do here is have the tackle come in. Now, LSU did something interesting in this game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 linemen. 6 linemen. Florida right now in the box, you have 6 offensive linemen as 1, 2, 3 down linemen, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in the box, right? So they're here, they're ready for this, but they're light. 3 down linemen versus a 6 down lineman box plus an H-back. So they're playing with a light front, trying to get the stop, counting on Trey Dean to make a stop. Here comes the counter run. Going to step this way. We're going to come here. Here's the counter. This tackle's job is to kick out anyone he sees here. He's going to kick them out. In this case, it'll be Cox. Kick out block here. And now you're going to have your H-back come in, and he's going to get a seal. He wants to create this lane so that you are one-on-one versus the strong safety. Now, what you're going to see right away is Hopper immediately is following the H-back. Quick ID, follow the H-back. He's going to engage the H-back at the line of scrimmage, which is what you want to do, which frees up Trey Dean to come into this hole and make the tackle. Now, Trey Dean is already late to this party. Trey Dean is watching the backfield. He's not really watching the H-back. In fact, he's watching this a little bit here. And Trey Dean wasn't going to watch the H-back for most of this game. As you're going to see, he is going to come into this hole. Now, everything from Florida's standpoint here is fine. This is what your strong safety, this is what you want him to do. He has to be able to do it. He needs to fill this hole and make a tackle. But as we've seen Trey Dean do, he's not going to come downhill as a run stopper very often and fill this gap like a linebacker would or like an elite strong safety would making tackles. He's there. He's going to try to make this tackle. He goes low. He's going to miss that tackle. And now 1st down and 10 becomes a 1st down, where in reality, based upon what Florida did at the line of scrimmage, where they were able to get a one-on-one in the gap this should have been a minimal gain. If Trey Dean comes downhill like he really should have following the H-back, this should be a 1 or 2 yard gain, but it's not. It turns into a 10-yard gain. This is a small problem right now, this 10-yard gain for Florida. It's going to turn into a huge problem later, but there's some early evidence of a basic counter play being run and Florida struggling to handle it, also playing with an undermanned front. LSU is 6 offensive linemen. Florida, they're playing 3 down linemen, counting on a bunch of other undersized linebackers to handle those gap responsibilities against the run. And of course, all of you know that LSU came into this game as one of the worst rushing teams in college football. So clearly Florida thought they could just handle them running a too high shell, and they, for the most part, didn't change it for the entire football game. 2nd and 3 for LSU. Follow the H-back. That's where the football tends to go. Follow the H-back, going to come across the formation. This is Trevez's responsibility, a guy, again, who I don't know how to say this without saying it bluntly. I'm not sure how he's still playing so many snaps in a Florida uniform. He's way slow off your screen. You're going to see him bubble back. This is his responsibility. He's going to keep backpedaling, and then he's going to get stuck in the wash here. And now he's going to come downhill, and he's way late. He should be here when he catches this ball, making a tackle at the LOS, line of scrimmage. Instead, he's way late. And then, as we've seen him do many times, not even touch a guy. Again, this is Trevez, who plays nickel for Florida, or the star position a lot, coming down on a tight end. And he's not even close to touching him. And that is going to be a 2nd and 3 that turns into an easy 10-yard gain. That's just not good defense. 3rd and 15, stop me if you've seen this before. Florida is going to drop 7 here. They are going to send 4, and they're going to blow a zone. They're not going to get pressure. LSU is going to do a nice job here stopping them. LSU is really playing 6 on 4 here. They're going to play a heavier protection package. It's 3rd and 15. He's got all day, and this is the kind of pocket you dream of here if you're a quarterback. And as he releases this football, we can immediately see the problem. We have Diabate, who dropped back from his linebacker spot to take away this deeper dig, which he did. And then we have Trevez down here. And we've got our corner down here, who I can't see the number right now. But we have clearly blown this, right? So this either needs to be Trevez dropping back into this area, which is most likely the scenario. You're not going to have your corner typically drop here and exchange that for the flat, but you can. It can be done. So it's more likely here that Trevez should have carried this back and been in this window, and that's going to be your corner soaking that up. Either way, one of them is wrong. One of these guys is wrong, and that leads to a super easy completion and then a first down. That's Marshall. There we go. Jason Marshall there. One of them is wrong. So we don't know which one. I can't definitively tell you which one. Depends on what kind of coverage Florida's in. But a 3rd and 15 where you blow a coverage, and it leads to an easy first down. And that LSU fan, of course, is excited about it and says, yeah, that's right. We knew we were going to convert that. It's 3rd and 6 for LSU. Florida going to come out in their nickel defense, as is the favorite of Grantham. And they're going to play too high here, as is also the favorite of Grantham, the base defense, the Swiss Army knife. And they're also going to play very light in the box. LSU, 5 offensive linemen. Here's your H-back. Florida really only has 2 down linemen here. You can see the hand in the ground, a 4-point stance here. Here we are, right? So we're going to come down, and we have a bunch of light linebackers. Here's Cox, an edge rusher. Here's Bernie. Here's Diabate, right? So we're playing light in the box, and right off the get-go, we're going to slant Antonio into the A-gap, and that's also then going to wind up taking out Bernie. Now we're driving 2 players back. Bernie's stuck. 2 players back. He's now 4 yards off the line of scrimmage. We've over-rushed here with our defensive ends because we're thinking it's a pass. We've blown past any run window. We're not able to make any stop there. So now we're definitely playing down in the numbers. And then here comes, of course, Trey Dean, who's your run stopper. Now look, the H-back here motioned across to give a kick-out block there. Where's Trey Dean? He's over here. Now in this case, he does follow the H-back, but he's not making a play. Again, you're basically a linebacker here. He's not reading where this ball goes to, doesn't see it, tries to find it. And now we're just going to drive right through there. And on 3rd and 6, pick up a super easy first down. Now, again, as to why Florida felt like they wanted to play so light in the box with a linebacker and Trey Dean, right? And Cox, who's an edge rusher, and not just get an extra lineman or 2 on the field outside of Carter, Newkirk. I don't know. They did it a lot in this game. It was bizarre. They obviously had no respect for LSU running the football. It's still early in the football game, so you can justify doing this stuff, but this would be a sign of things to come. You cannot allow your nose tackle, especially with a linebacker behind him, to get pushed back off the football like that, and then Bernie never locates it, is totally out of the play. Then there's Diabate, who's shed aside. Again, Diabate's not going to win this battle, right? That's a right guard on Diabate straight up. I mean, he's not going to win that battle. There's no chance he's going to win that battle. So Florida struggled all day long with the things you're going to see on this film, and we're going to keep building it out, but they struggled generally over-rushing their ends in running situations. They struggled to control the A-gap, and of course, they also tended to play light fronts, and they loved playing too high, bringing Dean in late, often not identifying the right gap or missing tackles. 2nd and 10 here for LSU. Florida's going to do a nice job on this play, especially Moon. So Princely's going to get pressure on Max Johnson here, but Moon, I want you to watch Moon's technique. He recognizes its pass, and we've talked about this before with Florida's linebackers, recognizing routes and making sure they fail. He's looking to see where that route is going. Good job there, Moon. That allows him to know where to flow rather than just staring in the backfield and kind of running along it like this, which we've seen defenders do. He knows his responsibility is to drop. He sees where the route goes. He's now turning his head again to locate him, and he's dropping back into the window. Pressure here from Princely. Max sees he has a small space to put this ball into, but Moon is in there, and this should be a pick. It just goes through Moon's hands, unfortunately. Moon has this right through his hands. Winds up being obviously a completion, which is really unfortunate because this should have been a pick. Whoop, right there. That's a nice job, though, by Moon. I like everything on film. He knows that he's frustrated right there because he did everything right. Unfortunately, doesn't get a pick, but did everything right there. I liked him IDing, of course, where the route was and then finding it. And here we go. The beginning of the GT counter. The guard tackle counter. So named appropriately, guard and tackle. What's going to happen on any guard tackle counter is the guard is going to come through looking to kick out the edge defender. The tackle then is going to come through looking to block in either direction, depending on where that player is. Going to either seal a linebacker or really the first into the hole, then giving the running back, who's going to take a counter step here, and then come through here, choosing which way they want to go through the hole. LSU is going to up the ante here by moving, of course, their H back in, which is going to allow them to be a little more deceptive and have an extra blocker. Florida is going to play right into their hands here, as what's going to happen on the rest of this counter play is the center and then the right side of the line, they're just looking to seal. So they want to seal here, they want to seal here, and they want to seal here, and oftentimes they'll also seal up here. But for now, on this particular play, that's the idea, right? So we're running a counter, we're looking like we're going to go this way, but we're really coming here. Florida's going to slant their defensive line right into the window. They're going to leave players wasted on the edge. I mean, this is just how not to stop a guard tackle counter. The guard tackle counter used to be called really the counter tray back when Joe Gibbs ran it in the 80s with the Redskins. The play is not new. It came back in vogue largely with Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley, who heavily features the guard tackle counter in their spread offense. They ran it against Florida last year, which I'm going to show you in a second. But for now, here is LSU running it. Florida immediately, again, is going to slant themselves out of the play. We're going to come too far up the field here with Carter, who's out of the play. We're going to leave Moon over here guarding no one who's out of the play. And now, as you can see, just like I mentioned, here comes your guard. Here's your kick out. They're going to allow their H-back to flow up here and take up the safety, in this case Dean, because they know Florida's in it too high. And then you have your left tackle coming around and taking on Hopper. So there goes, nice and easy, right? Here we go. There's Bogle. He's down. He's on his butt. Why? Because that is a guard against an undersized linebacker. So down he goes. Bye-bye, he's gone. Here's Hopper, who's trying to hold his own in the hole, and he gets cleared out. And here's the option that you have, right? At this point in time, the running back is just reading which shoulder gets turned. As soon as he sees his linesman's shoulder face this way, he knows his gap is here. If that seal had been here instead, he would have run this way. So he's going to take that A gap. There it is. That leaves only Rashad Torrance, who's over here on this side of the field. He's going to run right past him for an easy touchdown. Again, the guard, tackle, counter. One more time, you're going to see it a lot. I'm not going to continue to show this. You're just going to see it. There's different ways they run it. But as we go again, you just saw this, right? Guard's going to come through. He's going to kick out the first edge defender. Tackle's going to come through here. Lock, however, first comes through the hole. And the H-back is going to be flexible, but they're going to use him to drive out the safety, counter step from the running back. Florida goes this way. They make everything as easy as possible. There it is. There's your action. There's your touchdown. This play was run many, many times. I did not chart it from LSU. You're going to see it on this film breakdown many, many times. This play is not new. It's been around for a long time. Typically, of course, you can gain yards on it. Again, Oklahoma featured it heavily until teams in the Big 12 began to get a better beat on it. Florida, on the other hand, it's like they've never seen it, but of course they have seen it, and they've seen it on film versus Kentucky when LSU ran it, and they saw it last year when Oklahoma ran it against Florida. Despite the fact they didn't run it a lot last year, they chose to run it against Florida because you can run a guard tackle counter really well against teams that have bad gap fills, against teams that play with undersized linebackers and linemen. In this case, Florida has an excellent defensive line, but they frequently throughout this game chose to play undersized with linebackers on the line of scrimmage, and again, did not make a lot of changes. So there is your GT counter, the first of course, many examples that you will see on this breakdown. All right, here's the Florida-Oklahoma bowl game from last year. Nobody really wants to relive this, but here's Oklahoma again. Lincoln Riley brought this back, and the story for LSU running it with Ed Orgeron goes back to them facing each other with Joe Burrow in 2019. Ed Orgeron had wanted to learn really that summer all about the guard tackle counter. He was fascinated by it. He spent time with Lincoln Riley on it. They put it into the offense at LSU, and that's why it remains there today. So perhaps they were watching some film on Florida. Perhaps he called Lincoln Riley and said, hey, when you played Florida last year, what did you like to run on them? And Lincoln said, well, we brought out the old guard tackle counter a lot, even though we hadn't used it very often with Spencer Rattler, because we felt like Florida wouldn't handle it. And here it is now. Tackle, guard, there's your H-back. All right, now Oklahoma's extra deceptive on this stuff. I told you typically follow the H-back. That's where the ball goes, right? And that's part of what they're doing here. It's a little deception because they're actually going the other way. So here it comes. This is a tough thing to stop. Here's your guard. There's your kick out. There's your kick out. Now here comes your tackle. Now Florida does a better job of winning at the line of scrimmage here on this side of the football. Now there goes your tackle. Going to soak that up there. Now we're going to take this to the outside. And as you're going to see LSU, don't you pay attention to the receiver here. Pay attention here. LSU, you're going to see this on film. They run a slant where he's really trying to then take away the unblocked safety coming downhill. Now LSU did a nice job of this. You're going to watch them erase Florida multiple times on this play. There's the counter. There's a little bit of a hold there. Not going to call it, and that turns into a big gain. So there's Oklahoma running a version of the guard tackle counter. Again, there's all sorts of ways to run it. Florida has seen this before. It's nothing new. They struggled with it in the Oklahoma game as well. They ran it multiple times against Florida. LSU, I have to believe, felt that was a key and something they could also run against Florida as well. Here's an example of LSU running the counter tray, really the original play, the one Joe Gibbs used so often here. Counter step from the running back. The guard is going to come through here and be the first to get the kick out, and then you're going to have an H-back come and get the upfield block. LSU is playing lighter in the box with 6. Again, playing in it too high, much like Florida would have. You can imagine this being Trey Dean. He's going to be your fill guy. But what Kentucky is going to do and what Florida didn't is watch their discipline at the line of scrimmage. So there comes your guard. He's your kick out. Again, he's your kick out. And here comes your H-back. He's going to come through here. First of all, you can see that Kentucky is not flying up the field. They have not sent their defenders up the field. He's not all the way up here trying to get in the backfield like Florida is. They're expecting run. They're waiting for it. On top of this, their linebackers are following the H-back. Their eyes are on the H-back. They're following the H-back. That allows them to be in a good gap. Now we're going to hold the edge here on this block. Let's hold this edge. We're getting an early gap fill here. We're going to beat the H-back to the gap. Early gap fill from the linebacker because he sees where the play is going. Now we're in that gap, right? We're in that gap. This is a nice block here. Nice block here at the second level to take away the scraping linebacker. But because we had a nice play here from the weak side linebacker, he beats the H-back to the gap. He's in that hole, and he's able to make the tackle. Now he frees up of his block, and this play goes for essentially nothing. So despite being in a light box there, they're able to make the stop because they have good gap responsibility. They read the H-back, they beat them to the hole, and they make a stop. Let's take a look at another one. Another underman box here for Kentucky. In fact, they have just 6, whereas LSU is loaded up here with 8 if the receiver chooses to block. But what Kentucky's going to do is recognize that if you want to run a counter play, you got to step this way and go this way. So if you think LSU wants to run a counter, one of the things you want to do is you want to have your ends get in here early Only 3 down linemen. Look at the slant. They're all slanting to the counter play. They're slanting to the tendency play right there. Now, of course, LSU could just run power here. And the adjustment that Kentucky is making is they're going to have their strong safety looking into power, and their linebacker is going to take this C gap in case they want to run power. There it is. But because they have now slanted to the counter, they're on it, right? And here's your free linebacker. So they've pre-snap slanted despite their down numbers. There it is. Jump into the counter window. Here comes your guard. Again, this is a counter tray, not a guard tackle. There's your guard. He's way behind the line of scrimmage initiating this block. It's not how you want it. And now your H-back can't even really get into the hole to get the block that he wants. That's not there anymore. Price Davis recognizes that play is gone. I need to cut back, but again, you've spilled here. Spilling, right? Spilling is exchanging their roles. You're going to have the DN just go inside right away, and then you're going to have the linebacker essentially fill the edge responsibility. So you spill here with Paschal. You drive your linebacker down into the C gap. He's awaiting this cutback. Nowhere to go. Makes the tackle. Again, you can do this with a 6-man box. This can be done, but you have to have solid gap responsibility. You have to have players who know how to read, and you have to make sure you're calling good plays. These are good slants to the counter. They're playing the counter here. They get exactly what they want, and they stop it easily. All right, back to the Florida game. Hopper has been motioned out here with a running back who then's pulled back in. Hopper, of course, is a guy that I love. I think he's Florida's best linebacker. I think he plays the most true linebacker. He gets into the gaps. He understands football well. He should be playing every possible snap his body can handle. Of course, he's not perfect, but he's playing really well. LSU's going to try to fake this flat, moving Florida's defense this way, and then hit a screen pass here, but Hopper is reading this perfectly. Here comes Hopper downhill. He's on the running back. It's his assignment anyway, but good linebacking is beating the blockers to the space. LSU has an armada. Look, there's 3 blockers here. Florida's already locked up. If Hopper gets blocked, this is a huge play for LSU. Florida's down on numbers. Again, here comes Florida. They're using their over-aggressive defensive line against them. That's why you run a screen. They're flying up, but Hopper is a one-man wrecking crew. He beats the lineman to the spot. He can't block him, and then he makes the tackle. I mean, that is a hero play from Hopper. That's excellent, excellent football from your linebacker. 1st and 10 here. LSU actually wants to run this quick in here. Instead, they're going to wind up hitting a touchdown on a skinny post route. Florida is overplaying the run, but they're overplaying the run again in a too high shell where you're starting Dean this far off the ball. Don't get it. Don't like it. Don't understand it. Makes no sense. You're putting him in no man's land every single time. You're making him run much further to get into the box. If he's not playing pass, stop messing around and just put him in here. Or put a 3rd linebacker on the field that's really playing linebacker. Go to 4 down linemen, right? Go to 5 down linemen. Play a 5-2. There's a million different things you can do if you want to stop the run, because LSU was not super successful passing the football. But then up here we have Trevez Johnson, often a target of other teams. That's where they want to go. In this case, because we're going to have Dean come down, Torrance has got to pick up this middle in route. He's not actually playing safety. Trevez has no help. He's playing straight man. He knows this. Florida's going to get good pressure here. And there's the look. Again, he wants this pass. That's the pass he wants. He's not going to wind up taking that, and instead he looks and sees that he's got leverage to the inside. And despite the fact that you have Gervin Dexter, look at Dexter. I thought Dexter had a really good game that got lost. This is Dexter right here, head up on the center, and watch Dexter drive him 3 yards back. Look at this. Almost gets to the quarterback. I mean, that's unbelievable. That is great, great stuff from Dexter. But despite all of his efforts and Max jumping backwards, there's enough space here for LSU that Trevez doesn't even touch him until he gets in the end zone, and that's a touchdown. Of course, in my opinion, we've seen this far too often from Trevez. He just gets beat. He gets beat too easily. Teams know it. They look for it. When they get the matchup, they take it, and LSU capitalizes. Sometimes the team just makes a nice play on you, and that's what happens here with LSU. Elam's going to get a crossbody jam. He's going to keep outside leverage. He knows he's a safety here, and Torrance to help him out. He does that. Again, here comes Dean thinking it's a run. We're just committing our strong safety to run stopping. If he was reading this, he could have sat in this window, but we're just committing Dean to come downhill from 10 yards off the ball. Don't like that for obvious reasons. LSU knows it. That's why they're running this play, and they want to hit this window that's open. This window is small. Elam is here. It's even smaller because Torrance, who's been excellent on film, comes downhill, hits with intent to separate. It's a nice catch by LSU to hang on to that football. He takes some punishment, so does Torrance. But sometimes a team makes a nice play against you. But again, that's possible because LSU knew what Trey Dean was doing, that Florida was going to use him in that 2-eye shell really pretty much just to come down and try to stop the run. They clear the space, they complete the pass. Nice play design by LSU here against man. Up top of the screen, you have Elam matched up, and they're going to run the motion. They're going to stop the motion and then run him on a little pylon out route. Tough to stop for Elam. Elam overruns this. He's already been run off multiple times all the way across the formation. He's worried about having to chase this route. He's going to try to stop. He does not stop in time, and that's going to allow for the easy out route here and score. Now, again, if you're Florida, there's things you can do to stop this kind of stuff, right? You can play man, but you have Torrance here. Here's Torrance. Florida is technically 3-on-2, but 2 players are completely out of it with one simple motion and then a runoff. Again, LSU has an NFL coordinator. This is very much an NFL man-to-man play. Of course, in the NFL, if you're going to play 3-on-2, you would almost certainly have this safety further over here, and you would also allow him to help play this. He could have freedom to basically take whoever loses early on the line. So he would see this. He'd be lined up right here. As soon as he sees that, he shoots there. Florida elects not to do that. Torrance is really just playing inside, helping on a slant route here, or potentially against the run, and that costs Florida dearly as it's an easy conversion for a touchdown. Florida dodged a few bullets in this game. One big bullet they dodged was this one. LSU's receiver is going to line up on the line of scrimmage here. On the line of scrimmage. And because he does that, he's not going to be eligible because he's covered up by the wide receiver. So football rules, the widest receiver is going to be the one indicating who is in or out of the play, essentially. If this receiver was off the ball, then he could do it. In this case, he needs to be off the ball like you see up here, and this play would have been fine. Now look, I can rest assured that Hopper is not paying attention to him being on the line of scrimmage here. Hopper's going to pass this off thinking he has cover 2 and that he has a safety over top of him reading the deepest man. Trey Dean is pretty much just committing himself to this slant route here. Hopper is now absolutely toasted, right? Just toasted on a straight, there you go, just a wheel route. And this is the most common man beater in all of the NFL. I mean, it's a slant wheel. It's a great combination. If you have a linebacker covering a receiver on a slant wheel, that's going to be high difficulty rather, and high praise if he does it. And how you defend this is if you see the slant wheel coming and you're obviously a nickel or a corner, you're going to immediately go back to make sure you stay on top of it. Hopper's going to get stuck under, but Hopper's just passing this off. Hopper thinks that he is clearly playing a different defense than what's actually happening. I don't know who's right here. Again, I cannot tell you who's right. You can make justifications either way depending on what defense Florida's in. But in this case, Trey Dean is only sitting here, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Helping Elam doesn't make as much sense as helping Hopper on a receiver. So you would think logically that Dean would be helping Hopper and leaving Elam alone. Again, I can't say for sure. Either way, Florida just dodges a major bullet here because he just happens to be lined up on the line of scrimmage. So we'll take the illegal formation. Doesn't count. Wanted to show it to you anyway because it shows an example, obviously, of a busted coverage there. Third quarter action now. Florida down 28-21 after an Anthony Richardson score. We've got Perkins, a guy who I like on film in the slot, playing man-to-man with no safety help, and he is going to open up too much. He tends not to do this. He knows he has no safety help. He's trying to make sure he stays on top, but he is going to turn his hips too early. See this here? He's committed early before the LSU receiver has gotten into him. He's already open, susceptible now, of course, to being turned around on an out route, which is what you're going to see happen. Again, he opens too early. Now he's got to turn all the way around, which he does as he goes off your screen. Easy rollout throw here from Max Johnson. He now recovers. He tends to be a good tackler. He comes too shallow on the angle. He's there around the hips. Just doesn't quite make that tackle. And an additional 6 yards there on the play. So if you're Perkins and if you're a DB and you're watching this, of course, you do not want to flip your hips too early. He needs to stay in his back pedal. Do not open up yet. Again, back pedal, back pedal, back pedal, back pedal, back pedal, back pedal, back pedal. Don't open yet. Don't open yet. If you open, you're in trouble. All right, this is a GT counter dream. right here. This is everything you dream of on your guard tackle. Here is, of course, follow where the H-back is. The ball's typically going to go where the H-back is. If you see the H-back go this way, ball's probably coming towards you. Here comes the counter. Counter step, we've already seen this. Guard's going to come get a kick out. Tackle's going to come through the hole. Florida here, keeping an eye in the backfield, watching the running back. We're not making any movement yet to get in the hole. This play is already developing. We have no one going towards the gap. Cox has overrun this. You could say he's playing a squeeze here and he's squeezing down the line, but really he's just coming in hard. So that's going to mean the guard has to engage him early because he's the first person to block. Carter, of course, has come way up the field here, taking Max Johnson, despite the fact that Max is never keeping the ball. And now we have the dreaded situation. Again, on the counter, you're going to have a wall created here. Here's a wall. There's your right guard, right? And obviously now you're going to have, this is going to be a double, and then he's going to slide out here and seal off this edge. There it is. Peel off. Right, one more time. There's your center. There's your left guard. He's going to peel off this block now. Your right tackle has taken him out. He's now going to come through the hole. He's going to meet Diabate right there. Now we've got Moon out of the play. Both of our linebackers are gone in the nickel. And now we're chasing because here comes Dean widening out here, getting soaked up immediately by 82. And then you have Trevez, who's your other safety, who's coming down. Inexplicably, he's just running over here where there's nothing happening. So he would be your last man back. If that's Torrance, he makes the tackle right here. It's not a touchdown. But either way, no one touches him. Again, Florida's too far up the field. They're unable to help. If Cox had not come as far upfield, if he stops right here like we saw Kentucky do and he holds the edge on this line, he'd make a play. Same thing with Carter. They both way overflow on 1st and 10. That's going to lead to a nice pocket. Both linebackers unable to shed a block, unable to beat their lineman to the spot. And that leads to a super easy touchdown. Elementary stuff. Football at its core is blocking and tackling, and if the opposing team is running plays into fronts they want to run and you cannot stop it, you are going to be in for a long day. 3rd and 3 for LSU now. Perkins going to get redemption matched up in the slot again. Let's watch his technique here. It's much, much better on this one. In fact, it's really excellent. He's now staying square. So you saw last time he opened too early. Now he's square. He's backpedaling. Now LSU declares the move. He's going to then put hands on him right there. There's a cross body right there by the rewind button. A cross body jam. Even though he's down the field, he's not jamming, of course, just making contact. Now he's on top of the route. We can see the orange on top of the route. He's going to turn his head around right there, locate the football in perfect position, and then finish the play to the ground. That is absolutely great technique. LSU can complain all they want. That is perfect technique by Perkins, start to finish on that play. You have to give LSU credit. They obviously found something that worked, and they weren't even going to try and disguise it. Here it is again. Here's 82. Same thing. Going to have the old guard tackle counter. Florida playing right into their hands, of course, sticking with the too high shell like they did this entire game relentlessly. Here's Hopper, the only linebacker who is able to really make a play here. Florida playing with the rest of their undersized linebackers on the line of scrimmage. Really only playing with, of course, a few down linemen who are able to make an impact. And here comes the counter. Again, the counter. Fun fact, of course, if he's here, which way can the counter be run? It has to be run this way. Of course, you can run power. You can run other stuff, right? But if he's going to run a counter, it has to go this way. So let's watch what Florida does. Off the snap, here we go. Again, Florida, they've had a lot of counters run on them, yet they're selling out to the non-counter side. Here we go again, filling into the non-counter side, flying up the field. This is where the ball actually is going to go. There's your H-back. That's how you know. There he goes. He's going to leave Cox. Cox is the unblocked man. Cox is going to fly up the field again, as opposed to trying to hold here and engage this block. Set an edge. Hopper reading, of course, where the ball is going. And then here is Dean again up here. Here comes Hopper. He's going to try to flow across. He tries to sit himself in the hole where he can make a tackle. He's already well behind the play. They've driven Newkirk back here one-on-one. He's not in there holding a line. So despite the fact that Florida has 1, 2, 3, and 4 players all behind the line of scrimmage, none of them are in position to make a play, which is exactly what LSU wants. Hopper there now is going to get hit, of course, by a left tackle. That's your best offensive lineman versus Florida's best linebacker. There's Hopper. Hopper tries to squeeze through that hole. He forces Price to have to actually run, right, through the other gap, allowing Dean to make a tackle. So Hopper does a good enough job engaging this block of a left tackle to at least force this play to Dean, who's getting blocked by a tight end. Dean sheds the block right at the end, misses the tackle, and now we have Trevez down there at the end. Here's Trevez. This is your safety. He's waiting, and he gets punishment delivered to him. Bye-bye, Trevez. Nighty-night. And then Diabate finally tackles him down at the end. And yeah, he's flexing as he should be, right? And again, let's watch the end zone cam here. Same thing again. You know they're running counters. If you're Dexter, and it's a counter, we saw Kentucky do this. You know he's here. If he wants to run the counter, he's got to go there. Florida could slant. They could be purposely slanting occasionally into these counter windows, and instead, Florida is running themselves right into the blocks that LSU wants to make. Cox is going to overrun. Newkirk here is playing the line of scrimmage. He's going to get shouldered, exactly what you want. This is what you want if you're LSU. It's a great job by the lineman. They're going to love that on film review. Way to take that outside shoulder and drive him in. And then there's Hopper engaging this block correctly, gauges it well, gets held, I think, a little bit there, and then there's your missed tackle. There's Trevez going to sleep. And then there is, of course, a nice gain from LSU. 3rd and 5. LSU now is starting to run the ball on almost every play. They're beginning their series of running the ball 21 of the 23 remaining times in this football game. And you think Florida might say it's 3rd and 5, it's 35-35, crucial point in the game. Perhaps we're going to sell out at stopping the run. No, that's not what's going to happen. In fact, Florida's going to play too high. It's 3rd and 5, and we're going to bring our strong safety from 10 yards off the ball. Dean, who's been ineffective all day long. Why not take him out of the game and bring in an actual linebacker? Or why not bring in more actual defensive linemen? Florida, again, here going to play with a bunch of light linebackers in these windows. Not going to play a lot of down linemen, playing in a stand-up technique where you have less drive to get underneath these blocks. Makes no sense to me. Again, if you want to follow the football, follow the H-back. Aha, LSU getting tricky here. We're just going to try to run it through this gap. Again, of course, doesn't always, like I mentioned, go to the H-back. Florida's linebackers, where are they? Tell me if you can see them. Where are they? Well, there's Diabate. He's 5 yards off the line of scrimmage before he makes that tackle. Let's watch him. Just watch Diabate. Watch Diabate. Ready? Now look, do I blame Diabate? He's an undersized linebacker. More importantly, we're playing him on the line of scrimmage against a right guard who's driving downhill and run block. I mean, he has no chance in that situation. Absolutely no chance. Then once again, we have Bernie. This is Bernie who's head up on the center. That's Bernie. That's a linebacker. What do we think he's going to do? What is going on? Moon, Cox, Bernie, Diabate? So you're telling me that we have Newkirk and we have Carter. We have a bunch of big, strong defensive linemen, and this is what we do? This is what we're doing on 3rd and 5? Of course LSU is going to win that battle. They're laughing all the way to the bank. 1st down. I mean, you got to be kidding me. But I'm not kidding you. That's what's going on. All right, 1st and 10. Florida's going to show a little bit better discipline here, but again, we're still going to sit in too high because why? Why would we not? We're clearly worried that LSU is going to throw a bomb right now because they're not going to keep electing to run for 10 yards. And despite this, we have 4 down linemen now. Let's go with this. Carter, this is good. Newkirk, this is Valentino. Then Newkirk, then Cox. All right, good. This is what we should be doing every single play while also having safety Dean off the field or at least starting him in here. I'd say off the field and put him in here and live with 1 high, which I wouldn't make Trevez. But forget that. For now, here's what we have. Once again, Cox flying up the field as though it's going to be a pass. That's wrong, Cox. What are you doing? You're not just a pass rusher in this situation. You've lost your mind. Secondarily, Carter getting the right idea here. Hey, you know what? I'm sick of these guys running on me. I need to play both. Carter now is going to be able to make a play, which he does. Here's Hopper. Watch. Hopper reads this again. Look, this is a 2-lane read. He's got either B gap to run through. Here's your lineman. Hopper has to stay here. He has to honor this gap. Here comes Trey Dean, and here's the slant route, which we showed earlier. Bye-bye, Trey Dean, on the slant route. Good night. You're gone. You're out of the play. And Hopper, thankfully, has the discipline to wait and come here with Carter and make this tackle. Because you can imagine a world where if Hopper just decides, I'm selling out to go here, then he's out the back here, right? Or vice versa. If he sells out here, Tells out there, then he comes out here, and Trey Dean's gone, and it's him versus Elam. So either way, a slightly better play here, yet LSU is still gaining 6 yards. Again, LSU, one of the worst rushing teams in football coming into this game. All right, this is the face of a coordinator and an offensive unit that says, it's 3rd and 5. What do I do right now? Let me just fold my hands and think. How about run? And, Florida, what are we doing? I don't know. We're all way off the ball here. Lots of hands. What's happening? Hey, what's going on? No one knows. Let's see. We have 2 guys ready for the snap. 3rd down and 5. 35-35 on the road, SEC game versus LSU. 3rd down and 5. This is what you get. We got a mouthpiece still being put in right here. What are we doing? We have 2 deep safeties. 3rd down and 5. They've run the ball a million times in a row already. People putting their mouthpieces in. Cox gets a hero step in here. Actually wins to the inside, which is nice. I like this slant. Let's see that more often. Carter now still coming up the field too far. He's the edge defender. Of course, he's honoring Max Johnson, but let's play the tendency. Don't come up the field so far. Stop. Stop right there. Stop. You're the edge defender. Stop it. Where are you going? Too far. If you had stopped shorter, you would have made the stop. Then Diabate's there, can't make the tackle. He gets run over, and another LSU first down on 3rd down and 5. All right, 3rd and 4. Now Florida puts more in the line of scrimmage here. We now have 7 versus LSU's 8, potentially 9. We're still going to have a single high free safety here because, of course, they might still pass it rather than just say, forget it. We're going to play man, and we're going to put another guy in the box so we can't stop you. Florida's content to do this, and they're going to keep Dean in because Dean, again, has been a really great linebacker worth doing. And on top of that, again, if it's a counter, which way's it got to go? It's got to go this way, right? It's got to go this way if it's going to be a counter run. And look, there's your counter step. See the foot going out there? There's your counter step. Which way does Dexter go? Dexter, who I thought had a good game in this one. I don't know which way he's being coached to go here, but he's going to go the wrong way because he's going to come inside here when he should be coming out here. Again, if he just steps out here, he's going to help the play. He's going to get stuck inside, which you can't do. Once that happens, here's how the play works, right? This left guard is going to seal that. Here comes the left tackle. He's going to come around here and seal this linebacker. And now LSU is in business again. Here comes Cox at the field too far. Here comes Dean. Again, follow the H-back. Dean is just, I'm coming. I'm filling this gap. I don't really care where the ball goes. He almost gets pushed into it, but not going to make a stop there. Why? Because here comes the receiver on a slant who's actually blocking Dean. So Elam becomes a wasted player. Dean doesn't fill the gap correctly. He should be scraping across the formation when he sees the H-back go to make sure he's here. Scrape, scrape. Doesn't happen. Wasted safety. A lot of circles on the screen. A lot of frustration. Ultimately, there you go. Left tackle, block there. Guard, kick out, block there. H-back, through on the counter tray here. Take the vertical. And here we go. Work through the hole. And we're off to the races. And we're going to gain 25 yards on 3rd down and 4. All right, Florida actually gets 2 stops here on the goal line in a row with a heavy package. I know, shocker, right? They could stop that when they actually had the right bodies. And now, of course, I did a video on LSU's goal line stand in previous years before. It felt like this could be something similar. And Florida is going to stop, well, kind of, this initial play. But Florida's in man here. There's Marshall. It's going to be the key to this play is Jason Marshall has to run over here. He's following this motion. And then Johnson actually wants and actually has this route here. This is open. He has this route on Trevez. That's who they're trying to attack. Tight end on Trevez. He has it, but he peels off of it early because as his eyes look at it, he sees this engagement. If he just sticks with it for a second more, he has this. It's a win for Florida that he doesn't. He actually has a left-handed quarterback, turns around and rolls to his right, which is a win for Florida. Unfortunately here, Hopper is an edge defender. Takes a little bit of a shallow angle. If he had taken even a slightly better angle, he probably stops his play on his own. This is not his fault. Florida's getting good pressure. It's what you want. What happens here is a touchdown, and I'll show you where everything goes wrong. Keep your eyes here on Marshall coming across. He's going to fly across the formation. Unfortunately, they're going to run a slant route here, which is a rub. It's just a rub. Just get in the way. Get in the way. There it is. He's in the way. And that's going to knock Marshall out of the play. It's a good play designed by LSU. If Marshall wants to stop this in the future, here's what he has to do. He has to clear more space here. Again, you're trying to, basically, if you want to think about it this way, if your receiver is kind of orbit motioning backwards and he's a good 6 yards off the line of scrimmage, you can mirror him and you yourself can also be 6 yards off the line of scrimmage. That tells you the play is going to be a little bit slower developing. These are things, of course, he'll pick up. Instead, he's really only 2 yards. You can see there, 2 to 3 yards off the LOS. And if he's over here, he's clear of this, and 16's never going to get him. But instead, he's too shallow. That causes him to alter his path, and he can't be there. Again, if he's a little higher, he would have cleared Elam. He would have come straight downhill, and he's in position to make this tackle on 4th and goal from the 1. As it stands, that little rub route works, and LSU is into the end zone for a lead. All right, 2nd down and 5. Game is on the line. Yes, Richardson threw a pick. They've already gained 5 yards on 1st down. LSU, again, in the midst of running the ball 21 of 23 times. What do you think is going to happen? If you're the defensive coordinator, what are you doing? 1, you're probably playing Hopper. 2, what kind of alignment is this by Florida? Again, we've seen this all the time. Florida's linebackers are so disappointing with, I think, how they're taught. And it's just clear on film. It's just not right. They don't fill gaps correctly. Their spacing is not correct. Why are we even playing a safety here? Look, if LSU wants to take some vertical shot to win the game, good for them, right? They've run the ball right down your throat. Stop them. So Florida here is basically just begging LSU, hey, look, just run this way. Because look at our linebacker positioning. Look at our spacing. Follow the H-back, follow the ball. There he goes. He's going to kick out. He's kicking out the edge defender, who in this case is Tradin. Bye-bye, Tradin. And we're getting no good scrapes. Here's Diabate. Follow the H-back, follow the ball, follow the H-back, follow the ball. Had Diabate been looking at the H-back, he would have slid in here and filled this gap. He's not. Follow the H-back, follow the ball. He's not. Now he's going to get picked up right there. And again, here's Moon, who doesn't play a lot of inside linebacker. They've asked him to. He is just looking at the running back, right? Now he could theoretically come in these gaps here, but that's not where this play is designed to go. Not to mention Florida does actually have a defensive line here that's matching up well, minus Bogle. Bogle is going to get inside shouldered and washed out. There we go. Inside shoulder washed out. He's gone. Here comes the H-back. All we need now, imagine we're not playing a safety and he's down in the box. He's filling the gap. It's 3rd down. Instead, he's too far away. There goes Diabate. Too late. Here comes Trevez. Again, it's 2nd and 5. You have to get a stop, and he just drives right by. There's Trevez. Look, I'm not trying to pick on Trevez. I'm sure Trevez is trying as hard as he can. But at some point in time, if you're a Florida fan, or if you're me breaking down film, your goal is to look at the film and say, what can we do to make Florida better? And if you're going to allow players to continually get snaps when they're putting this stuff out there, it either means the people behind them are all worse, which means you're failing in recruiting, you're failing in developing, or it means people behind him could be better and you're electing not to play them. One or the other, it's not a good look for a program that's trying to ascend to a higher level. The stuff they're putting on film just isn't there. So sorry to have to walk you through the pain that was the Florida LSU game. It does put a lot of things out there. And for fans of the running game, especially if you like the GT counter, your high school football coach or something like that, of course, put it into your playbook. It's not complicated to run. That's the reason why Joe Gibbs loved it back in the day. You can run a lot of variations off of it. If the opposing team is going to fill gaps incorrectly and play undermanned, you could have a nice long day where it gets you a win. So that's it for now. As always, if you like the content, subscribe to this channel. I'm James from the Gator Nation Full Podcast, and I will see you next time.